Hello, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join this presentation with Dory Kimball's group. I'm Dan Dorn with CIE Tours. I'm one of the business development managers, and Dory has picked a wonderful tour that year over year is one of our most popular, the Taste of Scotland and Ireland. This 11-day tour will allow you to experience two wonderful countries, each filled with history and culture, along with the locals who are charming, friendly, and very proud to share their country with you. So with that, let's get started on what you can expect with this tour. Again, this is the Taste of Scotland and Ireland, an 11-day tour, and the tour departure is July 12th. But please keep in mind with CIE Tours, the actual start date of the tour will be July 12th, but you will be flying over from the States on an overnight flight on July 11. But as you can see with the map, you have some two wonderful opportunities with each country to enjoy what Scotland will offer. Glasgow up to an opportunity to cruise Loch Ness, a night in Nairn up north in the Highlands, and work your way south towards Edinburgh with stops in Pitlochry, as well as the home of golf, St. Andrews. And then after Edinburgh stay, you will continue by taking a ferry over to Belfast, which is in Northern Ireland, and then you continue south to Dublin, and then as you can see with the rest of the map, a nice little loop where you'll visit the Rock of Cashel, Blarney, visit Blarney Castle and Kiss the Stone of Eloquence, two wonderful evenings in Killarney with an experience of the Ring of Kerry, up north Cliffs of Moher, then you have Bunratty Castle, Galway, and then you will have the experience of visiting Clonmacnoise monastic site as you return to Dublin on the tour. So again, this will be a wonderful 11-day tour for you. About CIE Tours, some of you might not be familiar with who we are, but we are an Irish-owned company, and what's one of the great selling features with us is we offer local guides and drivers. So while you're in Scotland on this tour, you will have two individuals. One, you'll have a driver, and your guide will be from Scotland. Now, please don't be confused, because once you get on the ferry, the local guide for Scotland will wave goodbye, and your driver will stay with you, and then your driver, who is from Ireland, will take you throughout the country of Northern Ireland as well as the Republic of Ireland. Being Irish owned, that means that we are the #1 destination specialist to Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales, and we've been providing vacation opportunities since 1932. And then we had so much feedback from our guests that they wanted to travel with CIE Tours with something new. So back in 2018, we are now offering Iceland and Italy to our destination portfolio. What is a big selling feature with us is that we do not nickel and dime you during the course of the guided vacation. It's called All-In Inclusive Advantage, which means no optional extras. So during the course of the tour, our guides, drivers will not be trying to sell you any optional side trips like some of our competitors will do. Everything is included with your tour price. And then as you can see over the years, we've had over 3 million happy travelers with the guest satisfaction rating of 95% plus. And this is based on our post-trip surveys that we always offer. We are open to constructive criticism, and the feedback we've been getting has been phenomenal. And if I may say, the drivers and the guys, they probably get the most props when it comes to the surveys. Also, every one of our guests will receive the backpack package documents. As you can see in the image there, every one of our guests will receive the backpack, and included with the backpack, you're going to get one luggage strap to identify your luggage. You will also get 2 luggage tags. You will also get an adapter, and we provided this international adapter a few years ago, so no need to go out and purchase an international adapter when you travel with us, as it will already be included for you. You get a nice little rain poncho for the occasion of maybe a drizzle while you're over there. And I always like to tease people by saying it's green for a reason when you visit the British Isles and Ireland. But that rain poncho does come in handy. And then finally, there's the little document pouch. And within that, you're going to get all your documents. And included with that will be these nice little booklets, know as you go, so to speak. And with this information provided in those booklets, hopefully some of the questions you might have will be answered in these booklets, but it's really nice informational piece so you feel a little bit more comfortable when you're getting ready to travel with CIA Tours. I like showing this just to give you an idea what Scotland's all about. You know, Scotland is full of wonderful history, as you can see in the upper left photo. Naturally, golf is prominent in this country. I always like to show for Outlander fans, Jamie and Claire. I am a fan of Outlander myself as it's filmed in Scotland. Scotland's very dramatic. And with me living in Phoenix, I've had the opportunity to meet Diana Gabaldon, who is the author of Outlander. She lives here in the Phoenix area. But I really believe the popularity of Outlander has contributed to the interest of people wanting to travel to Scotland. In the lower right photo, you're going to find one of the many distilleries, Blair Athol Distillery, which you will experience when you travel to Pitlochry. And then finally, in the lower left, a wonderful photo of Edinburgh Castle, which sits atop of an extinct volcano in the city of Edinburgh. And when you go to the top there after a city tour, you'll be able to see all the sights from the top there. So wonderful images of the country of Scotland. Some trivia for you. Bagpipes, they weren't invented in Scotland. They came from ancient Egypt and were brought to Scotland by the Romans. And then kilts originated as the traditional dress of the men and boys in the Scottish Highlands back in the 16th century. Also, when you think of Scotland, you also think of Scotch. The origin of whiskey began over 1,000 years ago, believe it or not. And from migrating from traveling monks from the continent of Europe, the term whiskey derives originally from Gaelic, meaning water of life. I love this photo. This is beautiful Urquhart Castle, which is on the shoreline of Loch Ness. Loch Ness contains more water than every lake in England and Wales combined, believe it or not. And Scotland itself has 31,000 lochs or lakes. The first recorded sighting of Loch Ness Monster, as we affectionately call Nessie, was way back in 565 AD. So you never know, you might, when you have your Loch Ness cruise, you might look at the sonar on the bridge of your cruise and maybe you'll be able to find Nessie. I had the opportunity to do this. It's a wonderful little trip that you can experience when you travel Loch Ness, and it's really fun to find, you know, they have the sonar going just in case, but on my trip, no such luck. And then some images here once you go to Ireland. You'll see some young folks there enjoying the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin. The center photo there at top is Dublin Castle. And when it comes to Irish step dancing, as you can see, they start them young. I always recommend, when you do have time, to visit a local pub, let's say in Killarney, please do so. Smoking is no longer allowed indoors, so it's a fun-filled atmosphere. Who knows, you might cross paths and start a conversation with a long-lost relative, but it's the opportunity to listen to some local music, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere when you visit these local pubs. And then finally, on the lower left, one of the many sheep that you will experience seeing when traveling on this tour. And once in Ireland, you will have the opportunity to visit along the Atlantic coast, or as a lot of people like to call the Wild Atlantic Way. This is the Cliffs of Moher. The cliffs are approximately 9 miles long, and at the highest point, they will reach 700 feet. And again, this is on the Atlantic coastline. Wonderful Blarney Castle. It was built way back in 1446, and legend has it that the Blarney Stone bestows upon the kisser the gift of eloquence or Blarney. Now, for some of you that might not want to go up to the top, it's roughly 100 feet high. There's some beautiful gardens surrounding the castle areas, so it's not like you have to go up there to kiss the stone, but you'll find yourself enjoying the gardens as well. Also, what is a lot of fun and is overlooked when you first look at the itinerary is sheepdog demonstrations. The first recorded sheepdog trials took place back in 1873 in North Wales, and ever since then, the International Sheepdog Society, back in the early 20th century, they will hold national trials, which are held every summer in Ireland and Britain. It is amazing what these border collies can do with a herd of sheep. You will really enjoy it. And one of the trips I was on, my first trip actually was CI Tours. I was with a small group, and everyone thought this was the best experience that they enjoyed when traveling to Ireland. Now, you get some of these border collies, they're well trained, they know what to do, but you'll get some that just don't have the knack. And I feel sorry for this poor pup. He was probably just cold that day, just wanted to be surrounded by some sheep to keep warm. So here are going to be the tour highlights for this tour. As you can see, there's the map again of the two countries. That ferry ride, by the way, is my understanding. I have yet to take it, but it's probably close to a 2-hour ferry ride between Carnryan and Belfast. So please keep that in mind. But with the highlights, again, you're going to have Blair Athol Distillery. You're going to have a wonderful Scottish evening with dancing and music. Again, Blarney Castle. And as you can see from that photo of Blarney Castle, the surrounding grounds of the castle area. Cliffs of Moher again, the Dublin Canal Dinner Cruise, which is a lot of fun while you're in Dublin, and then again with Edinburgh Castle when you're in the capital of Scotland. Also, Loch Ness Cruise, as mentioned, and you can see in the background of that photo with the cruise, you can see Urquhart Castle, which again rests right on the shoreline of Loch Ness. The Skellig experience. In the Skellig experience, you do not go out to the Skellig Michael Islands per se, because it'll make you appreciate what these monks had done back in the 5th century when they built their monastery. But there's a wonderful experience as you travel the Ring of Kerry. They have some ancient artifacts, and it makes you really appreciate what these monks went through to build their monastery back in the 400s. Also, a visit to wonderful Titanic Belfast. When you're in Belfast, doing a tour, you'll have a medieval castle banquet, which everyone leaves with a smile on their face. Again, a sheepdog demonstration, and then a visit to Christ Church Cathedral when you're in the Dublin area. Now, with hotel accommodations, all of these hotels are 4-star rated. So when you're in Glasgow, you will have a DoubleTree by Hilton Glasgow. There's 2 images of the exterior as well as one of the bedrooms. You'll get Muthu Newton Hotel when you're up in Nairn in the Highlands in Scotland, and then an image of the bedroom. And then when you work your way down towards Edinburgh, you'll be staying at the Dalmahoy Hotel and Country Club, and you'll be there for 2 nights at the Dalmahoy. And then when you work your way over to the Ireland portion of this tour, you will be staying in Dublin at the Hyatt Centric, the Liberties. A nice image of the exterior as well, as you can see from the decor of the public area and the lounge area there at the Hyatt Centric. Killarney Avenue Hotel, which is really nice. Killarney is one of my favorite towns. You'll really enjoy staying in Killarney. So there's a nice image of the lobby area there of the Killarney Avenue Hotel. Bunratty Castle Hotel with one of their bedrooms there. The Maldron Hotel Pierce Street when you're back in Dublin at the end of the tour. And the reason you go back to Dublin, it just makes it more convenient for your departure to fly back home. So those are the hotel accommodations. So with day 1, you will arrive in Glasgow after your overnight flight. And then Glasgow is a beautiful city. You know, Edinburgh gets a lot of the publicity, but Glasgow, I think, is just as beautiful. And you'll be taking a tour of the wonderful city of Glasgow. That's St. George's Square there with one of the images there towards the bottom. An afternoon city tour, and then a nice welcome drink with your group before dinner on your first night arrival. With day 2, you'll travel along one of the famous lakes of Scotland. This will be Loch Lomond in the upper right photo there. You'll continue through Glencoe region, which is the start of your Highlands experience when traveling on this portion of the tour. You'll have a nice photo opportunity there at Glencoe. You'll also have the chance to visit Fort William. And then with that, you'll continue on for a nice Loch Ness cruise, and then you'll continue on to Nairn for your overnight stay. With day 3, as you work your way south towards Edinburgh, you'll have a nice tour of Blair Athol Distillery. This will give you an idea how whiskey is distilled. I have had the opportunity to do this tour a couple of times. Very informative, and you'll really enjoy visiting Blair Athol. And then being a golfer myself, it was a highlight for me to visit St. Andrews, which is the home of golf. St. Andrews is a wonderful university town as you work your way south towards Edinburgh. And then you'll continue to Edinburgh. And then that first evening in Edinburgh, you'll enjoy an evening at your leisure. With day 4, you'll get a nice city panoramic tour of Edinburgh, and which will be highlighted with the visit to the castle there at the top of the extinct volcano. You'll also have the opportunity to see the crown jewels there at the top of in that area. And then that evening, a nice way to cap off your Scotland experience with a Scottish evening, again with performances of dancing and music. It's a lot of fun. Then on day 5, you will have that ferry ride over to Belfast. You'll get a great Belfast city tour. And then for me, I've always had such an interest in the Titanic. You'll visit Titanic Belfast. This was opened, gosh, just 11 years ago, I believe, 11 or 12 years. But as you can see from the design, the architect with Titanic Belfast, he wanted kind of an image of the ship itself. So it's designed after the bow and the keel of the Titanic. It is the exact same height of the ship itself, which is around 90 feet. But Titanic Belfast, it's not a museum. There's no artifacts from the ship, but they did a wonderful job of recreating the grand staircase, the first, second, and third class staterooms. But there's some nice old videos of the workers working on the ship, and you can see the outline of the shipyard where the Titanic was built. So a nice visit there at Titanic Belfast. And then you'll continue south to Dublin, and your first night in Dublin, you'll have a nice evening at leisure. On day 6, you will have a nice Dublin city tour. You'll have the opportunity to visit Christ Church Cathedral during that tour, and then that evening, a nice canal dinner cruise. On day 7, you'll travel through the Midlands on your way to a wonderful sheepdog demonstration, along with some tea and scones while there. That is my photo of the sheepdogs. That was my first trip with CIE to Ireland. I had the top sheepdog trainer for Ireland, and those border collies, again, are just amazing with what they can do by separating sheep, like the trainer was saying. Let's say I just wanted 2 sheep out of the pack, and those border collies can do that. It's just amazing. Border collies are super smart. You'll then have the opportunity to visit Blarney Castle, again, to kiss the stone, or if you just want to walk the grounds, you'll enjoy yourself doing that as well. And then you'll continue down to beautiful Killarney. On day 8, a nice little jaunting car ride, which is just a horse-drawn carriage. I'll take you through Killarney National Park. You'll have the opportunity to visit Ross Castle, which is on the shoreline of the Killarney Lakes. And then you'll get to travel the beautiful Ring of Kerry on day 8. Continuing with day 8, again, I mentioned earlier the Skellig experience. Again, there's some wonderful ancient artifacts of what these monks, what they went through to build their monastery out on the islands. For those of you that might be Star Wars fans, chapter 7, towards the end, when she was looking for Luke, they filmed the end of chapter 7, and chapter 8 was filmed out there on the Skellig Islands. And so it's just really interesting with what these monks went through to build that. You'll have it on the way back to Killarney. You'll have a visit to have a nice photo opportunity of Mall's Gap there with the second photo. And then you'll return to Killarney, and you'll enjoy an evening at leisure as you're probably a little bit more familiar with Killarney itself. Again, a lot of restaurants, some pubs, and as I mentioned earlier, when you have the opportunity to visit a pub on some leisure time, please do so. It is a lot of fun. With day 9, you'll work your way north. You'll visit the beautiful Cliffs of Moher. They have a terrific visitor center, And again, the cliffs were considered one of the ancient or one of the modern wonders of the world, but it didn't make the final 7. But the cliffs are majestic, a nice experience. Then you'll continue on to Bunratty Castle. And I wanted to show this photo because with Bunratty Castle, if there is time, Dirty Nelly's pub is one of the most famous pubs in all of Ireland. So if you have a chance to walk in, have a pint before your medieval dinner feast, please do so. It's right next door. And then again, you'll cap off your day with a nice medieval dinner feast, which is very interactive, again, with music, singing. Again, you'll really enjoy that. Then on day 10, you will travel to Galway and enjoy a walking tour of a nice little university town there in Galway. You will continue on to Clonmacnoise monastic site, and then you'll return to Dublin. You'll cross the island of Ireland. Maybe it's just a 2-hour coach drive at that, and then you'll return to the city of Dublin and enjoy an evening at leisure once again. And then on day 11, after breakfast, you will then transfer to the Dublin airport. And what's really nice about the airport in Dublin is that you will go through pre-US customs check. So when you're in the main terminal, instead of just seeing your flight departure, you're also going to see the opportunity to go through US customs before your flight departure. So let's say you're on a flight that will leave at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They time this perfectly so that they will make the announcement, travelers on such and such flight departing at 1 p.m., you are now cleared to go through U.S. Customs. So with that, that will give you the opportunity to avoid going through U.S. Customs when you come back to the States. So if you have, for example, a connecting flight in New York, you will not have to worry about going through customs. You have already done so. So the Dublin airport as well as the Shannon airport, which is on the west side of the island of Ireland, they both offer the pre-US customs check. It really makes it convenient for all US travelers. And then after going through that, you go to your air departure gate and then your home departure. And that will conclude the tour on day 11. Now, the payment guidelines, per person deposit of $250. The deposit does become non-refundable 100 days prior to the departure date of the tour, and then final payment due 70 days prior to your departure. So again, I think Dory's done a wonderful job with this tour, and that is what is called Highland Coo, which is Scottish Gaelic for Highland cow, but that's one of the hairy cows that you'll find all over the country of Scotland. But again, Dory's done a wonderful job in picking one of our popular tours, and that is Dory's contact information there at 830-460-1289, and then her email address at dktravel4u@gmail.com. So with that, thank you again for taking the time to listen to this presentation. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Dory and she'll be happy to assist you and answer any more questions that you might have. Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.